Alright, so today we're going to talk about parallel lines and their transversals and what it means to be the angles formed by these kind of lines. So first, a couple of definitions. So your parallel lines, these are coplanar lines that do not intersect. The key word there is coplanar because skew lines are non-coplanar lines that do not intersect. So parallel have to be in the exact same plane, whereas skew, if they're not in the same plane but still don't intersect, that's still allowed to be non-coplanar. Perfect example of the difference, if I were to draw a box, so AB would be parallel to CD. They both will never intersect, but they're both in the top plane. Whereas AB is skew to DE, because they will definitely not intersect, but AB is either considered the top plane or the left plane, left part of the box. In DE, it would be either considered the back plane or the right side of the box. So they're not in the same plane at all. Now, parallel planes, these are planes that do not intersect. So again, using the same box example, the top of the box and the bottom of the box would be considered parallel planes because they do not intersect each other. So 3 important definitions to know. Now, a transversal is a line that intersects 2 or more coplanar lines at 2 different points. And they're going to form 4 different types of angles. One type of angle is a consecutive interior angle. So I have my transversal A, intersecting lines B and C. Angles like angles 1 and 2 would be considered consecutive interior angles. Because look at the keywords. Interior, they're inside the 2 coplanar lines, and they're both on the same side as the transversal. That's why they're consecutive interior. 3 and 4 would also be considered consecutive interior angles. Now, a little bit different is alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles still are on the inside of our coplanar lines. So again, we have B and C are 2 coplanar lines, A is our transversal. But now they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So in this case, angle 1 and 2 would be alternate interior angles. So 3 and 4. You'll generally find your alternate interior angles form a Z, either a regular Z or a backward Z. To form those angles. And the angle inside the Z, those would be your alternate interior angles. Now, alternate exterior angles, same concept now. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, but now the key word is exterior. So they're outside the 2 coplanar lines. So angles 5 and 6 would be considered alternate exterior angles. Opposite sides of the transversal, left, right side, but they're both outside our coplanar lines. And so at angles 7 and 8. And our last angle formed is our corresponding angles. These are angles that lie on the same side of the transversal and on the same side of the 2 intersecting lines. So 1 and 2 are corresponding angles. Same side of the transversal, so both the right-hand side. And notice for our 2 coplanar lines B and C, angle 1 and 2 are both on the top part of it. So top right quadrant there, corresponding angles. So 3 and 4 are also corresponding. They're both in the bottom left quadrants of their little angle splits. In order to use this information to identify different angle pairs based off this diagram right here. So let me fill it in. So we have our lines A, B, C, and D. Our angles are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14, 15, 16. So make sure if you have to pause the video to draw this diagram, make sure you do so, because we're going to use this on the next page to go over different concepts. And what we're going to do is we're going to identify first the transversal connecting each pair of angles I give you. So for example, if I give you angles 1 and 9, they're formed by transversal C. And they'll be asked to classify the angle relationship using the different terms we've used thus far. So again, pause if you need to finish copying down this diagram and the directions. Alright, so angle 1 and 11. So if we take a look at our diagram, angle 1 and 11, they are formed by the transversal C, and they're both considered our alternate exterior angles. Alt-ext angles. Angle 4 and 8 Well, these are formed by the transversal A, and they are considered corresponding angles. Again, they're both on the, for their different little quadrants, they're both on the bottom left. That's why they're corresponding. You'll know there's a difference between alternate interiors. They have to, on the exteriors, will have to alternate transversal sides. Consecutive interiors have to both be inside. So this is a combination of interior and exterior, but on the same side. 6 and 13, this is formed by transversal D, and these are consecutive interior angles, because they are both inside the two coplanar lines A and B, and they're both on the same side of that transversal. Angles 2 and 12, well, 2 and 12 are both formed by transversal C, and they're both considered to be alternate interior angles. They both form essentially a Z with that the angle relationship with those diagrams. So that's what I'm looking for when I give you an angle pairs. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of them to do on your own, so make sure you fill them in. So go ahead and take a look at that right now. Pause the video so you can work on 5 through 10 on your own, fill in exactly what angle pairs they are based off your current definitions you have. Alright, so here are your answers. So for number 5, angles 11 and 15 are formed by transversal B. They're corresponding angles. 8 and 14 is formed by transversal D. They're alternate exterior angles. 3 and 7, transversal A, corresponding angles. 7 and 13, transversal D, alternate interior angles. And the last two, well, angles 6 and 8, they're formed by transversal A, but they are vertical angles. That's the key. You need to remember that these are vertical angles. Don't forget that relationship. And same thing with 13 and 14. Those are formed by transversal D, and they are considered linear pair angles. Now for both those problems also, in addition to saying transversal A, I have also accepted transversal D for this one. And then for the last one, linear pair, also would have accepted transversal B. Both those are perfectly correct and valid answers for your transversals. Alright, so that's what I'm looking for. I've asked you to identify different types of angles. Don't forget your vertical linear pairs. They are still valid answers. Okay, so I will see you next time.